Folks, late last week, the DOJ released the findings of its first environmental justice investigation under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. It's in an area of Alabama that's called the Black Belt. According to the DOJ, the investigation uncovered evidence that the Alabama Department of Public Health had a pattern of neglect and failed to act on water problems in Lowndes County, about 30 miles southwest of Montgomery, the state's capital. 51,000 homes in Lowndes County. 60% of them have inefficient sewer systems. Catherine Coleman Flowers is the CEO of the Center for Rural Enterprise and Environmental Justice. She joins me now from Huntsville, Alabama. Catherine, glad to have you here. This is a perfect example, Catherine, of an environmental issue that's a race issue that involves the Department of Justice. Christian Clark was there last week where they announced those findings. Let people know again how the life of black folks impacted by an inadequate water sewer system.
Well, first of all, Roland, thank you for having me here. I grew up in Lowndes County, so I know what it's like to have a failing septic system. I know what it's like to use an outhouse. But a lot of people, I was surprised when I moved back to the area to find out that people were still living like that. And what's even worse now is that if you're living in a home where your septic system is failing, usually what people do when it fails, it comes back into the home. And when it will be outside of the home, or people disconnect it, and that's when you see the toilet paper and so forth outside the home. Then there are a lot of people that can't afford them because they're so expensive, and they just have it growing into a pit, as you see in one of the photos that's there. We've gone to places where we've just seen sewage all over the areas because people didn't have treatment. There are also cases and examples where we've seen they have sewage lagoons where people are living right adjacent to where all the sewage from the community goes into this one area. And we did a study that was released in 2017, a peer-reviewed study where we found evidence of hookworm and other tropical parasites. And when this study was released, the state health department put on its website that it was not valid because we used PCR technology, which was not approved by the FDA.
To see those photos, again, people might be thinking, oh, this is 1920s, 1930s, and not 2023.
Oh, this is definitely 2023. A lot of those pictures were taken in 2023. And if you go to a lot of the homes, you can see this. And I guess the reason that we were able to share this over the course of the time I've been doing this work is because I am a native and I grew up seeing a lot of this too. A lot of people are embarrassed by it and didn't want to really talk about it, but they shared this information with us because they're ready for a solution. And we're glad that the DOJ took up our complaint and saw validity in what we were. And I've been working on this issue since 2002. So we filed the complaint in 2018, and fortunately somebody heard us and were able to, using Title VI and the Civil Rights Law, and what I think is the most appropriate place, which is Lowndes County, because most of the Selma to Montgomery March goes through Lowndes County. It's also home to the original Black Panther Party, which was founded there. So I think that if history bears us out, maybe we can also make additional history by making sure that no other rural community throughout the South would have these kind of long-running situations, because we're hoping that this could be a model for how we address these issues.
Catherine, Lowndes County, 72.5% black, 26% white. So what is this decision by the DOJ, what is it going to do? What is it going to cause? What is going to change?
Well, hopefully what it would change is that most of the families that are impacted by this, which are families that are African American, most of the families will find a remedy finally, where they don't have to worry about either sewage running into the backyards where the children are playing around it or coming back into their homes. So we're hoping that out of this we can find technological solutions that work. Places like Whitehall, Alabama, where people are living closer together, we're hoping instead of them them being, because the pictures that you're seeing now are in Whitehall. Actually, that family, their great-grandmother provided the campsite for the marchers when they marched from Selma to Montgomery. It is a travesty that people that gave so much for the right to vote are now being put in a situation where they have to live like this. And hopefully what we could find is that there will be funding that will be directed to them that will allow them to have centralized sewer where centralized sewer can be, or having septic systems that work.
And again, they'll be suspending criminal penalties and liens. They will also suspend enforcement of sanitation laws that could result in criminal charges, fines, jail time, and potential property loss for residents in Lowndes County who lack the means to purchase functioning septic systems. They will also ensure that Lowndes County residents are informed about the suspension of the criminal penalties and liens, also examining public health risks within Lowndes County, and coordinate with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to measure the level of a health risk of different populations experience from raw sewage exposure. They also agreed to work collaboratively with the CDC to adopt any public health recommendations provided by the CDC. They will be also launching a public health awareness campaign and will develop a public health awareness campaign using radio, print ads, flyers, mailers, door-to-door outreach, and other appropriate ways to ensure residents receive critical health and safety information related to raw sewage exposure. Also providing public health educational materials for Lowndes County healthcare providers by creating or have supplemental education materials for healthcare providers for Lowndes County residents, including school-based healthcare centers and community-based organizations, to provide more information on symptoms and illness related to raw sewage exposure. Also, they will be conducting assessments to determine appropriate septic and wastewater management systems by conducting a comprehensive assessment of the appropriate, management systems for homes within Lowndes County, and use that information to prioritize properties to receive systems based on risk of exposure to raw sewage. And Alabama Department of Public Health cannot use this information for criminal penalties or liens. That is really important there, Catherine.
That's very important, because what keeps a lot of us connected to the county is that our families own property there. And when they came up with this lien law that would allow them to put liens on people's properties, note that that's the only place in the state of Alabama where it would apply, in Lowndes County. And there are 67 counties in the state of Alabama, and they had that special law just for Lowndes County. So we feel that, the way they were just so punitive in terms of going after people who were in a situation that was not through their own makings was hard. And I'm glad that the Justice Department stepped in and listened to our complaint, and is helping us get to a place where this can finally be resolved.
All right, then. Catherine Flowers, thanks so much. Great work, and keep fighting.
Thank you so much. Come and visit us.
Indeed. I'll be in Alabama soon. All right, folks, back to our Roland Unfiltered video in just one moment. When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Your money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.